Hello, and welcome to the 182nd edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Brucker, and I'm coming to you live here from Casa de Brucker. We're going to be having another very good beer. Today we're having a beer out of Michigan called Pigeon Brewing Company. It's a brewing company, and it is their salted caramel porter. I just could not resist a salted caramel porter because I truly do love salted caramel ice cream. Now, I can honestly say I've never had a salted caramel porter before, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. But, if you don't try it, you don't know. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour it while we're talking about it. Now, the beer is rated 85 out of 100, which would make it a very good beer. And you see we're getting a nice brown color with an off-white head, which is pretty standard of a good porter. The beer clocks in at 6% alcohol by volume, which is about right for a good porter. So I'm excited because a lot of times, if you think about it, when you get salted caramel, you're getting one of two things. You're either getting a really great salted caramel, or you could be getting butterscotch, right? And I'm more of the salted caramel purist than getting the butterscotch flavor. So it'll be interesting to see what this is like. If it tastes like that at all. So we have no idea. I have never had this beer. I know it's crazy. Now this is out of Muskegon, Michigan. There's a whole story about Pigeon Hill and what it we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's go ahead and waste no time and dig into this beer and smelling it. See what we got here. So I definitely smell the caramel. It's more faint than you would expect. And I get the malts. And I'm pretty sure there's some chocolate malts in there because I get a little scent of chocolate. Interesting. So the head just went down pretty fast. Okay. We do get some legs on the beer, but they're kind of quick going away. So the carbonation's a little bit on the light side. Definitely a dark brown to reddish color in there when you hold it up to the light. So let's waste no more time. Let's talk about this. Very nice. So the nice thing, when I say very nice, the nice part I'm talking about is the fact that you can still recognize this as a beer, not like some kind of dessert type thing. The part that stands out to me about this beer is that it is a porter, okay? And it doesn't come across as some super sweet, type of beer. I think they did it justice. Now the caramel is very faint. I mean, even more faint than I would expect, but it's there. So I would definitely say the salted caramel part is a secondary from the porter. You're definitely right off the bat, you're getting that nice porter flavor. And then on the back end, you're kind of getting that like almost aftertaste of the caramel. But it's a very not super sweet type caramel that is, not like leaving that sweetness in your mouth. So it kind of finishes almost dry at the end. It's quite unique. I can honestly say I've never had a salted caramel porter before, but I think if you're going to make one, I think they did a great job about this. They call it porter with salted caramel deliciousness, and I'd have to agree. It's a good beer. and it's a porter first, which is what I like in a beer. I don't like a beer where they call it something and it really just is overpowered by whatever they put in it. This, they did it right. They made a porter, and there's a light flavor that they've derived that they call salted caramel, but it does have a caramel flavor. So I'm not sure what, I'm assuming that's by use of the malts that they did that. Very, very nice. Now, what is Pigeon Hill, you might ask? And I had to do a little research because I've never been to this brewery, although my friends up in Michigan may have. So if you guys have been there, make a comment on beer issues and tell me about Pigeon Hill. But from my understanding, Pigeon Hill is basically like a giant sand dune up off of Lake Michigan. That at one point back in the 1800s, they used to have large migrations of pigeons that actually inhabited the island or the sand dune. It's just a great big hill. It was also in the past, it was previously called the Bluffs at Port Sherman. So the Bluffs at Port Sherman is another name for Pigeon, or what Pigeon Hill used to be. But this dates way back to the 1800s when they had tons of pigeons at this, what basically looks like a big hill in the picture, but in reality they say is like a massive sand dune. I don't really get it. It looks way too big to be a sand dune to me. I live in Florida, so I see sand dunes a lot. I've never seen anything quite as large as this. So I would say more like a hill, but they call it a sand dune from the 1800s where pigeons used to inhabit. So anyway, that's the story about Pigeon Hill. This brewery's been open since 2014, so they put in a number of good years, and it looks like they're making good beer. I'd like to next time I'm up that way, I'd like to maybe check out the brewery and see what that's all about. Because if they make a good beer like this, and they're stepping out doing crazy things like salted caramel porters, I always want to give them a try. Because sometimes you're going to try a beer that you never would have expected to taste good, and all of a sudden it could be your next favorite beer. You never know. I've gone through cycles in my beer drinking where I wouldn't drink an IPA if you put it in front of me. Didn't have a desire to drink an IPA. Now I love IPAs. Not all of them, but most IPAs I really do enjoy drinking. I always said that the two beers I would never drink are sours and smoked beers. And I've done episodes on sours, and I found several sours that I like. I won't say all of them, but several sours that I like. And I've even found smoked beers that I can drink. Probably still not going to be my favorite, the smoked beers, but I've found some of the smoked beers that I have drank and enjoyed. So don't ever give up without trying something. And if it's not yours, just don't try it again. But make sure you check out. And I would like everybody out there who's watching to find at least 2 friends who don't know about beer issues and tell them about beer issues and get them to subscribe to beer issues, because we want everybody to know how much fun we're having talking about beer and drinking great beer. And if you want any cool beer issues gear, like beer issues hats, t-shirts, anything like that, make sure you go to shop.beerissues.com. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.